The man who can get your stimulus checks meets Congress on Tuesday, finally. Great news, but Nancy Pelosi's working on another scandal. Is it too early to start drinking? Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LALATE. Hope you're good and safe. Boy, what a tumultuous big week it has been. But congratulations, you made it to the weekend. This is afternoon's LALATE that starts at 3:30 every day with a check, this video. And then goes to hazard pay. Big news on hazard pay. Boy, got to tune into that. FPUC is next after that, and I have incredible great news on FPUC. And finally, rent returns. Boy, this is a day with great news and just like crazy WACKO Nancy news again. As another scandal erupts, I can't even believe I'm saying this. First, the great news, let's start with it. The man that could get you the checks is coming back in the mix. Who is it? It's Steve Mnuchin. Steve Mnuchin was the guy who got your first round of stimulus checks if you got them. He negotiated the first stimulus package with Nancy Pelosi. Moving Meadows didn't exist then. He wasn't a campaign member. He had been, auditioning for the role of chief of staff for several years, but he wasn't given the role until the first stimulus package was approved. Well, this coming Tuesday, Steve Mnuchin will testify before Congress, and he's expected to be asked, can a second stimulus bill, checks, be gotten and sent out? It's that type of talk that really moves along, because Patty Pelosi in the last few days has really sort of hid behind press releases, her current staffs, and really just done things like appear on Colbert. She's talked about FPUC and, excuse me, not FPUC, FDA, CPA, and barely ever LWA. And when it came to stimulus, it just was not in her collective discussion. And Steve Mnuchin is needed more than ever, because he and Nancy, as this channel always has digressed and gave you a little flavor, really get along well. They do. They do get along well. It's been a week in which Patty Pelosi has been extremely petty every time the moving Meadows tries to move closer to her. She's like, back off. It's like a skunk coming for its prey. She's like, no, don't answer the door. Don't let him in. The whole discussion about him going to her office last Saturday, him texting her, him courting her response, has actually not been just, me reporting it. It's headline news. It's on the major 3 broadcast channels, how she refers to him as whatever is his name, how she says, I'm going to just give you 10 minutes of my time. Don't bother me. Don't come to me. Don't speak to me. It's just been very petty. Well, Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi don't have that rapport, and so there's a lot of incredible hope that this coming Tuesday, you'll see incredible progress on stimulus checks and stimulus package. Ironically, Meadows gives us the insight that she really wants this to be done, and that this is not, this is not the true Nancy Pelosi, that you're getting a caricature of herself that she's trying to portray for purposes of negotiation. What's interesting, though, is that no less than 2 days after we got over Postal, we're now on to Pompeo. And tomorrow will be another P. Yes, Nancy Pelosi's ready with another scandal. We have not had enough scandals in this week. This is the point at which you're like, yes, this is the Nancy Pelosi WACKO news of the day. She's ready with a new scandal. The Democrat-led House Foreign Affairs Committee is now focused on not just stimulus, but having new hearings and ordering in another person to conduct an investigation of scandal. Not Postal, but Pompeo, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. The cabinet had met and they drafted something. They didn't draft a standalone stimulus check bill. What did they draft? They drafted a request to have him show up because it's transparently political misuse of department resources is enough. And that Chairman Elliot Engel out of New York, I mean, is this sounding like a familiar sketch? Another person out of New York is doing standalone bills, but not standalone stimulus check bills. Drafted one that said Pompeo has demonstrated alarming disregard for the laws and rules and wants him coming in. When he's in there, can you ask about stimulus checks? Chairman Engel issued a release today, drafted a bill, is ordering Pompeo in. Nancy Pelosi is getting all excited and giddy. There's another scandal of the day. You know, I just don't know what she's doing, but it's petty. It's just, at this point, I just want to have Colonel Sanders order the guy from Kentucky to come back to D.C. because apparently he's the voice of reason, and just give him some extra crispy leg and thigh and get it done, because you know, when he was eating the original recipe and just battling with Nancy a few months ago, Mitch McConnell was just not a happy camper, but now he's just the voice of reason. Mitch McConnell, if you haven't seen the last 3 days, is just, you know, literally saying, I want the stimulus checks to go out, I want the stimulus package to be done now, we got to do this right now, America's hurting, America needs relief. And he's not just doing Nancy Pelosi's children is going hungry script, he actually has a different line every day or every hour. But there's Petty Pelosi with another scandal. The great news is the stimulus checks is agreed upon. $1,200 stimulus checks to all individuals. Family of five would get 5 times the amount. 5 times $1,200, $6,000. There's agreement upon it. And that agreement was not, you know, if you want to say it wasn't Movie Meadows, it was Steve Mnuchin and Petty Pelosi. They agreed upon it. Money Mnuchin said, hey, yeah, I'll give you stimulus checks. I'll do a standalone bill. I detailed on Mornings LALATE this morning, which basically there's a series of major quotes by Money Mnuchin that said, me and Nancy agree upon stuff. Why aren't we doing standalone bills? Sound familiar? We agree upon what we need to agree upon. Let's just get this done and send out the money we agree upon, and we'll get to the other stuff thereafter. I'm not saying that I won't get to the other stuff. Let's just get the money out on the stuff that we agree upon. Hallelujah. I mean, praise the Lord. Bring in the choir. I'm ready to dance. I'm like, this guy's understanding exactly what we got to do. He's ready to send out the stimulus checks. He's about to do the FPUC extensions. He's about to do the eviction moratoriums. But Petty Pelosi's just like, don't come to me unless you kiss my toes, and throw cheese whiz on the floor in front of me. It's just like, what's with her? Mnuchin ironically offered Nancy $400 a week FPUC. Really, I think it was almost in around the first week after FPU had expired. So you would have been at $400 a week already, and you would not have had that $100 minimum under the executive order. You would have had a pure $400 a week. It would have landed in your bank account, so we would have been at what, now 4 weeks, 5 weeks of FPUC? And that $400 a week would have made the difference of you being homeless or not, and yet Petty Pelosi's really, sitting on her bonbon and just talking about Gavin and Andrew needing bailouts. Well, with that, Steve Mnuchin is really the second coming, the hope of this stimulus battleground. And for a person who says, yeah, let's send out the money we've agreed upon a lot of stuff. I came up with more money. I can come up with more money. I can bring back my old notes. Remember when Steve Mnuchin appeared on the morning show, not this morning show, but CNBC, and was interviewed by David Faber and Jim Cramer? He said, I gave her what she wanted. She wanted more money. I gave her what she wanted. She wanted more money for schools. I gave her more money for schools. She wanted more money for food stamps. I gave her more money for food stamps. I gave her more money for this. I have no problems giving her more money for things we agree upon. And she gave me stuff that I needed. I wanted money for PPP. She gave me more money. She gave me a round of PPP because she didn't have PPP in it. So at that point, everything was really almost perfect. It was almost perfect when Money Mnuchin and Petty Pelosi, who at that point was not petty yet, had agreed upon everything except one thing: bailout for states. It's at that point, if you recall with this channel, that I was saying, hey, she's holding up your stimulus checks because she wants to do a bailout of states. Hey, she's holding up your FPUC because she wants to do a bailout of states. Hey, she's holding up your executive orders because she wants to do a bailout of states. We sort of could figure out that thing then because we could sort of target on it. We could say, hey, Nancy, let's be sensible. Don't hold up people's stimulus checks because you want to bail out Andrew and Gavin. And she's not disputing that's what she's doing. She admits she's doing it. She says we have to have money for state and local. Okay, I got it. We understand, Nancy. Well, I have to have money for state and local. We got it, Nancy. Calm down. Calm down. We understand you have to have money for state and local. You don't have to hold up people's stimulus checks so they become homeless. We'll get to state and local. And she kept on thinking that Steve, well, she never mentioned Steve. Maybe she was referring to Moving Meadows. She always thought that if she took out stimulus checks and took out FPUC and took out eviction moratorium, that they would never get to state and local. No one ever said that to you, Nancy. In fact, Steve Mnuchin, coming next week, hopefully is getting the question that he was asked a few weeks ago, which was, would you get to the other stuff? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I really do think it's a personality conflict with a person who is really being super petty, with a guy, Meadows, who really, she doesn't like. There's no dispute she doesn't like him. He's the guy, she claims, slammed furniture and kicked furniture and slammed his hands on furniture during the last day of negotiations, and she put out a press release about it. I mean, we can understand it's Caroline Manzo and Teresa Guidi's all over again. You don't like each other, but that's not to say that someone else in the room can agree upon it. It can be Jacqueline and Teresa that can agree upon it. And so with Mnuchin coming back into the mix, it's really promising news. This stuff, the Pompeo, why do I have to deal with the Pompeo stuff? It's just not appropriate that there's a Pompeo scandal now brewing out of nowhere. He seems to think the office holds, that he holds the government, the department he runs, the personnel he oversees, the taxpayers, all are there for his personal political belief. God, we got to hear for this for the next few days? We can't get a stimulus instead of this? And then there's Pelosi that simply wants to be like the Temple of Doom, the empress of mediocrity, the protagonist of petroleum, that she simply wants to say, everything's coming to an end very soon. There could be a very short conversation if they're not willing to meet in the middle. She said of the chat with Meadows yesterday. If you don't recall, Meadows reached out Pelosi for just days and days and days to get a chat. He finally got her to chat, but before she chatted, she had to have a press conference talking about how badly she doesn't think they should chat. I mean, that's the animosity that's just coming through the nostrils at this point. It's that dragon, the dragon of the house. They aren't trying anything. We have to say to them, were we willing to meet in the middle? You called me, I'm returning your call. Are you ready to bring me more money to the table? These are her actual words. I'm just not. These are her words. These are, this is not the transcription of Love and Hip Hop from last night. This is actually the Speaker of the House's own words. Boy. As September 30th rolls upon us slowly, why is that so important? September 30th is the date in which the deadline has to be effectuated to get a balanced budget done. The balanced budget is required by September 30th. If it's not, the government shuts down. I mean, it's just, she's trying to shut down Meadows, and now maybe the government's going to get shut down. No. Meadows thinks that Nancy is going to basically use that government shutdown date as a way to anchor and negotiate bailout, stimulus, everything else together as one set of talks. And I think he's really right. You know why? Is because, guess what? If you're doing a bailout, I call it bailout. If you're doing the balancing of the budget, you got to talk to people. You can't be doing this thing, which is it's a 10 seconds conversation. Don't call me. You have to be talking about other stuff. You have to be talking to people, and talk is where they need to go. It's been a really crazy WACKO week with the governor, with the attorney general in D.C. suing Instacart, claiming it wasn't paying the essential workers, claiming that it was absconding with tips that you thought were going to the drivers and not going to the drivers and going to the bosses. I mean, it was a week that started with the president seemingly, not so bothered with the angst about stimulus, but by the middle of the week saying, "Hey, I'm just so sick of you. I'm about to do everything by executive orders." And if you watch Rent, I just think a lot of the executive orders are around the corner. It came to a head, on Thursday, yesterday, when American Airlines said they're cutting 2,850 pilot jobs. And they said that because they're not kidding, another round of $25 billion of stimulus in the second stimulus package behind Gavin and Andrew, and that they said they needed this money. Why is this important to you? Because the president said, "Hey, I'm just sick of you folks. I'm not giving you any more money. And if you don't get back to work, if you keep on firing people with money that I gave you in this first stimulus package, the first round of $25 billion, I'm going to pass an executive order." And Mark Meadows came back with that and said, "You know what? The president's now threatening executive orders from all the other stimulus. He's just so sick of all this." Do you blame him? So American Airlines, United Airlines, president, everyone's threatening about stimulus. And I've seen your tweets. I gotta respond to some of your tweets. I've seen your tweets. Yes, there is constitutional attorneys out there that believe that if there is no election results certified by January 1st, that Nancy Pelosi is president of the United States. Just can I have a drink now? Yes, that I have seen those tweets, and the president himself even talked about it. He says the greatest scam in the history of politics is going to be mail-out ballots of 50 million. It's possible, they have no idea. There's a lot of political stuff. This is not a political channel, but it's just everywhere. There's talk that you need to know about that of maybe moving Election Day, a thought that no one ever would think would happen. But apparently Petty Pelosi is so upset about the postal, and she got nothing with postal. She wrote a bill, they voted on it, it's gone nowhere. So there's no changes. There's nothing happening different with routing systems of postal. And, she's angry about that. I mean, she's just, she's still angry about that. So will she delay the vote? Will the Republicans delay the votes? Can either of them delay the votes? Yes. A vote of Congress could cancel the election. And what would that mean? It would mean that the stock market's going to crash. It would mean that enormous turmoil financially would erupt across businesses, unemployment benefits, and everything else. And then, if there's a government shutdown September 30th, would you get your unemployment benefits? No. Would you get your SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits paid on time? Maybe not. Would you get any of your benefits on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, Railroad benefits paid on time if the government shuts down? Maybe not. As if you thought Nancy was not causing your week any more angst, she can cause a lot more. And it's not quite clear where or why she's in the current mood. If you've not seen, there is grounds to remove a Speaker of the House. In looking it up, I found no prior history in the U.S. History where a Speaker of the House has been removed. There is authority under the Constitution to remove the Speaker of the House. Speaker of the House have 2-year sessions. They're voted in. She's had session after session after session. Her last round, she went against Tim Kaine, but then he bowed out. Her number of votes each time has been very, very high. But where can you really levy the pressure? The pressure seems to still remain as coming from people who are up for election. I mean, if you're up for election and you just don't have the support of your base, you don't have the support of fellow Democrats, because you see the purple power just hitting you and say, "Hey, where's my standalone bill? I mean, how difficult is this? Where's my standalone bill for stimulus checks? Where's my standalone bill for FPUC? Where's my standalone bill for eviction moratorium?" And you don't get a response, don't vote for them. If they're an incumbent and they're up for re-election, don't vote for them. and tell everyone you know, don't vote for that person. There's a lot of things that are going to happen. What I need you to know is that you need to stay positive, stay focused, stay calm. As I discussed on the FPUC video, I understand every viewer has a different walk of life. Some viewers are on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits. Some viewers are like Uber and Lyft drivers. They're solos. They had work. They're maybe working a little bit now. They need unemployment benefits. Everyone is a little bit different. So you need to be respectful of other people in this family that have different situations than you have. And when you do, you need to understand that when I speak to everyone, I'm trying to speak to a very broad section. When this channel launched, I was really helping small business owners that had 3 or 4 employees, or they're solo practitioners that were supposed to get EIDL loans, were not getting it because of problems at SBA. And because of my help, I saved people. I saved their businesses, I saved their families, I kept them in their homes. They were about to be evicted. I got the money that could put money on their table for their food and for their children. And that also saved their employees whose entire families were dependent upon these jobs not being shut down. This was a lot of money. I mean, this was $5 to $25 million that these businesses were entitled to, but for SBA, they had not gotten until I stepped in and I helped them. Reading 300 to 500 comments per hour, per day, on camera, per video, to really help and ensure that they got what relief they needed to. And the reason why I bring this up to you is that if you're not that person, but you're another person, don't be disrespectful to someone else. We're all in this together. And the other thing that I want to impart is that for some of you, that let's say for an Uber or Lyft driver, there's a lot of things out there that you qualify for. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to empower you to understand that go get everything that you're entitled to, whether it's FPUC or PUA or UI or PPP or EIDL. If you qualify for more than one thing, don't just wait for a stimulus check. I taught that to my earliest viewers, and to this day they're forever indebted to me, because some things were slowed up and other things were speeding up. And you never knew which one was going to come first, so I said apply for everything. And in some cases, they all came together. Do me a couple favors. Go and like this video. Take that Javita Carranza scarf and just smack that like button. The video algorithm of YouTube likes it. The more you like a video, the higher it appears in ranks of the other people that do this and this and that and those and them that deliver crazy ass WACKO stories like there's a $90,000 stimulus check coming out tomorrow. Did you not know that? They go low in the rank. Next, hit the subscribe and alert button so you get alert every time a new video goes live. There's a lot of stuff out there, and we're updating stuff all the time with new grants and free money. So it's been a great run. Last Saturday, I said, let's try to add 25,000 subscribers in 2 weeks. 5 days, we've added 20,000. So let's keep it up. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay focused. Coming up next is Hazard Pay. As always, have a great afternoon.